So when we talk about Gohan being the legendary Saiyan, for one, Gohan's character is in a very unique position when it comes to this concept of legendary Saiyan because of his latent potential. It's been something that has been mentioned and discussed about Gohan since the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, that's been so much of his character development and why he was able to get through the situations he got through because of his latent potential. That phrase itself is not something that can be or has been said about every other character in the show. It's always been special and it's always been unique to Gohan only. So when you look at it from that perspective, you look at Gohan's strength and you look at the fact that Gohan has truly not even reached the pinnacle of his strength and his power because he is not truly trained to his complete capabilities and he has not unlocked every single one of his abilities. I don't think so. I still think there's so much more progression and development that can be done with Gohan's character currently in Dragon Ball Super or whenever the show returns. I mean, so far he's quote unquote hit his limits as of the Tournament of Power, and we can even say as of this moral arc, but there's so much more that Gohan can still do. So what's the best way to make him the legendary Super Saiyan? Well, for one, like I said, his latent potential goes into a lot of his story. It should that should stay. There's no reason to take that out of his character at all. But what would make him unique as a legendary Saiyan? He is the son of Goku and Chi-Chi, and from that point on, how do you create events in his life so that it correlates to him being the legendary Saiyan? When it came to Goku, I said that Goku would be a legendary Saiyan that would be kind of on his own planet by himself, trying to fight the strongest warriors in the galaxy, and he would not be the typical just friends with everybody, constantly all over the place Son Goku. That is what the legendary Goku would be like. For Gohan, I could see Gohan actually spending most of his life as a legendary Saiyan with Piccolo. Piccolo would be his mentor, his trainer, his attendant, whatever you want to refer to him as. That relationship I think would still hold intact. It's what again makes Gohan also unique. It's what makes him and Piccolo unique and great together as, you know, as a team. It's why people joke around and say that Piccolo is Gohan's real dad and not Goku, because Gohan is always spending time with Piccolo from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z when Gohan was young even to where he is now. He has still been with Piccolo what seems to be like 90% of the time, especially with Pan being born now. They're always together. So I think if Gohan's a legendary Saiyan, that relationship should still be kept intact. Piccolo could, in essence, act as a negotiator for anybody that would want to challenge or fight Gohan. So here comes the question: does Gohan stay on Earth as a legendary Saiyan and he just keeps this secret to himself if he actually knows that's what he is, or if Piccolo knows what he is? Or does he share a similar route of other legendary Saiyan tales where he doesn't spend most of his time on Earth, he actually spends his time on another planet? It's a little bit tricky to say because Gohan isn't someone that's always constantly involved with the other characters in the show. Obviously, now that he's married to Videl, he spends more time with her and Pan and whatever he does for, you know, the school that he teaches at. And occasionally, obviously, he'll come over to help Goku or the others out when they need help. But for the most part, Goku isn't so much invested in being around the other characters like Goku is. So I think with Gohan, you still could have him reside on planet Earth as a legendary Saiyan. It's just maybe instead of living where he lives now, he would live somewhere way off. Maybe he lives on an island, somewhere kind of far away, where him and Piccolo are constantly training non-stop. He spends a little bit of time with his daughter and obviously his wife when he can, but training is his number one priority, which we can say right now is still currently not at the top of his priority list. He's moving it back up there, but I don't think he has officially put fighting and training back at the number one spot on his task list. So that would be the essence of what his character would be if he was a legendary Saiyan. He actually makes training a utmost priority above everything and anything else. He's not just doing this for his own power, he's doing this to protect his family and the people that he cares about. So Gohan's tale as a legendary Saiyan, I think, would be something much more connected to the viewers, because Gohan would feel that he wasn't just fighting just for himself. Like I said, if Goku was a legendary Saiyan, I think Goku would be doing a lot of that for himself and to challenge the strongest fighters. Obviously, we see the story with Broly and how that's developing a little bit. Broly was isolated with really no one else to talk to besides his father and his friend Ba for 40 plus years. Gohan's story, I think he would be much more integrated with regular society rules, so to speak, as opposed to being off on some distant planet like other tales of legendary Saiyans would be. So I think Gohan's going to be much more integrated. And instead of engaging in training sessions with all of his friends and family like he's done for most of his life, at least until he became a teacher, he would not just take up every invitation to just fight somebody random, someone that wasn't even on his power level. In fact, he would probably have Piccolo reject most of the fights for him until he deemed somebody was worthy of fighting him, someone with power level on that of a legendary Super Saiyan, like a Son Goku, potentially like a Vegeta, like a Dragon Ball Super Broly. These characters specifically in Universe 7 would be the only ones, in my opinion, to actually pose a worthy opponent for Gohan if he was a legendary Saiyan himself. Everybody else he wouldn't even waste time with, because I think as a legendary Saiyan you still have to keep up that aura and that mystique and the overall phenomenon that comes with the title Legendary Saiyan. And I also think Gohan would be very humble as a legendary Saiyan. Gohan's character in itself, he's always been thankful of anyone that's taken the time to train him or teach him something new. I think that would be a specific characteristic unique to him that would still stick through all the way. And I think that when he would come about facing really tough opponents that could actually rival him in strength or come close to him in strength, he would be very humble and thankful for them, not just because they were so powerful, but because they had taken the time to actually fight with him. But even still, as a legendary Saiyan, your strength has got to be that, it has to be at a level that these other quote-unquote beings, whether they're Saiyans or not, can't really touch at that moment in time. It's basically the way the story was told for Broly. Goku and Vegeta couldn't touch him individually until they fused to make Gogeta. Same could be probably said with Kale, right? For a little bit of time during the Tournament of Power, Kale was unstoppable. Nobody individually could stop Kale with where her power was at. You would have to apply that same concept to that of Gohan, but like I said, there would be much more humility, I think, in his character when it comes to accepting these invitations to have these battles and these fights. And most importantly, depending on the character, Gohan's humility and Gohan's calmness and sometimes his shyness could actually be something that would irritate a character. Like Vegeta, for example. Imagine if Vegeta's fighting Gohan as a legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta would get annoyed at some point because Gohan would be so selfless, right? I mean, that has been Gohan's character. Gohan is not selfish at all. Gohan would do anything to protect those that he cares about, even if he doesn't think he's in the best shape of his life. I mean, he tried to do that in Revival of F. It was just a shame that he was not in training form, hence why he got completely embarrassed. But he still, in essence, sacrificed himself. He still could have died in that fight against Frieza, but he knew the threat that Frieza presented, and he wasn't going to let his friends possibly die and just he stand there and do nothing. That's why he felt so angry in the Goku Black Zamasu arc when he realized that Future Trunks was fighting these villains all by himself. You could tell in his expression, he was so upset and mad. He's like, I'm concerned about school and all these other things, and my friends and family were in danger. Like that type of stuff is always going to hit Gohan in a sensitive place because he cares so deeply about those in his life. So with that being said, Gohan would not go lightly to anything that could potentially pose a threat to him, his family, his friends, whatever. So with that being said, like I said, Vegeta challenging him, it would probably get frustrating for Vegeta. Gohan is, like I said, he's selfless and he's arrogant when he's overconfident in his power and in his strength, but still at the same time, Gohan's not trying to embarrass anybody in the exception, I would say, of Super Buu. And like I said, that was the overconfidence thing in his own new level of power and strength. But if Gohan was able to be at that power level constantly all the time, I think that arrogance and that overconfidence would come down a little bit. We have to remember he is still half Saiyan, so he is still going to share a lot of those Saiyan qualities when it comes to that battle and fighting spirit. But the longer I think he's able to maintain such a high level of power, the more he's going to calm down, the more he's going to become much more relaxed with it and not be arrogant with his power and with his strength. And with that being said, I think that is what would give him an edge in certain battles against characters that would have a little bit of a problem of him seeming so kind of nonchalant about things, but also being very, very tough. I think it would start to frustrate a character like Vegeta. I think it would frustrate Broly. Of course, Goku's always excited to fight with the son. I mean, I can't even really recall. There may have been one time, maybe in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, where he thought Gohan was kind of holding back his strength a little bit, and he was getting frustrated with him, especially during the Cell Saga. I think in all honesty, that was the time, the one and only time, really, where Goku displayed any bit of frustration with Gohan, I would say, in their entire existence together. You know, I can't recall other moments where Goku displayed any frustration with Gohan besides the Cell Saga. So with that being said, unless something like, I think that would happen with Gohan only if Gohan was holding back with Goku as a legendary Saiyan. But if Gohan's fighting Goku with all his power, then I don't think Goku will have any complaints. He will only have complaints and have discrepancies when he knows that his opponent is not taking him seriously. That is when we see Goku start to get fed up. So as long as Gohan is not doing that as a legendary Saiyan, I believe their interactions itself obviously would be fine. So comment section below, you guys let me know on what you think about my take on what Gohan would be as a legendary Saiyan, whether or not you agree or disagree. If you disagree, that's completely fine. Comment section below, let me know what you think Gohan's story and tale would actually be like as a legendary Saiyan. What qualities would make him stand out? What qualities would separate him from that of Broly and or a Goku as a legendary Super Saiyan? If you guys made it through all the way to the end of this video, leave the comment GT in the comment section below if you did make it through all this video, and we'll take it from there.